Okay, so what we're seeing here is the Aras web-based client. Again, this is totally browser-based. So you see at the top of the screen that we do have, we are in Internet Explorer. Only we have taken over most of the user interface to make it more familiar and easier to use for users of desktop applications. But again, we are completely within a web-based environment. We're going to start here by looking at problem reports as part of the advanced change. So let's use the navigation on the left side here, and we will look at problem reports. If I click here, I get a search screen. This search screen will allow me to view all problem reports that are in the system. In this case, we have just a few, or I could search by any of these fields. Let's, in this case, search by a status of pending. If I run that search, it will then filter down the results to only show me pending problem reports. So here I see I have 3 problem reports. I'm going to use this 100079 problem report, controller over temp fault. If I double click, I am brought to the problem report form. This problem report is going to show me all the information about the problem as reported. So here we have a tracking number, which again is the 100079. The user who entered this would have entered the title, and then somewhere along the line we would be entering things like the application environment, the sequence of events, a specific description of the problem. In this case, we had a fault code, and whether or not the problem has been verified. So we see this form here is based on the CM2 configuration management standard. The form, all its fields, the title, everything you see is completely customizable to meet your company's needs. So if your company calls them issue reports or some other terminology for this type of item, you are more than welcome to change the titles, completely create your own new form, or modify this existing form to better suit your needs. We see on the right side a few other things. One, we have this item is in status pending. We'll jump into that in a minute. There is a link to the item that's affected by this change. We can tell who reported this problem, and then who the assigned creator or the person responsible for this one would be. Let's go ahead and talk about the status. We see that this problem report is currently in the status of pending. If I want to see all the different states that this problem report could be in or has been in, I go to the lifecycle view of this problem report, and I see that currently we are in the pending status, but in order to get there, we must have gone through a submitted and verification steps. There are a number of states that are available here, a number of statuses for problem reports. Here we're showing that we are in the pending state. So the life cycle is what we would refer to as a state engine, all the states or statuses that a particular item could be in. There's also another concept of what we call workflow. Workflow tracks the activities that actual people or users have to perform to get this problem report from initial creation through its fruition. So here we're looking at the workflow process that we use to get this problem report into its current state. We can see that we have an activity here called Review Problem Report, Review PR. This activity was assigned to Change Specialist 1 with a voting weight of 100, meaning that only Change Specialist 1 would need to vote on this to move it along. Change Specialist 1, in this case, is a role, so we are assigning assigning activities to people by role. This is a common way to do it, but not the only way. There are other ways to make assignments that we'll see further along. But in this case, we're looking at an assignment in using the role capabilities. The verify PR, on the other hand, has been assigned directly to a user, in this case named Robin Wakefield. So you can see that we have a number of different options here for how the item got through its workflow. We see that the current status of the workflow is closed, meaning that it has made it all the way through at this point. Therefore, we can look at the history of this workflow to see how it got closed. So if I view sign-offs, I can see that I had, in fact, only three steps. I went straight from review to verify to approve. So the assignment of review PR was assigned to Change Specialist 1. It was completed by a user that was fulfilling that role, in this case, an administrative user. Later on, it looks like Robin Wakefield was also assigned to the role of Change Specialist 1 and was able to complete the activity. We see how each of the users voted. We see when the vote was recorded, and of course, the user has the option to enter comments as they're voting on these activities. So what's important here conceptually is that there are two different things. There are life cycles that deal with the states that an item can be in, and there's workflow, which deals with the activities that users must actually perform. All of these things are completely configurable, completely customizable to meet the needs of any company's requirements. So if there was an additional step that was required in a workflow, additional sign-offs, different sign-off logic, so that maybe you have 2 or 3 people required to vote thumbs up in order to approve the problem report, certainly that would be possible and actually quite straightforward and simple to do. So here are as we've just seen, the default workflow and lifecycle for the problem report. And we can see that we have actually made it through the workflow at least. In the life cycle, we are at status pending. Another important piece of the problem report is the link to the affected item. So if we go ahead and click on this link, we should see that we have the system will automatically open the item that was affected by the change. In this case, it is a part. It's a part called a controller assembly with this part number, and the part itself has its own properties that are being tracked by this form. Again, this form is just how the default system is configured. All these things are completely configurable and completely customizable to meet your company's needs. But by default, we see that we have things like state on a part. We have assigned creator and designated user that provides individual ownership of this part. We can classify something as an assembly. If we look at the tabs down at the bottom here, we see that there are a number of tabs for things like attachments. In this case, we're looking at the bill of materials for this controller assembly. The controller assembly has components in it. It has, in this case, we have software also included. But this would be the first level bill of materials for the part that was affected by the PR. So if we see this controller assembly here, we see that it has a bill of materials. If we look at the where used view, we can see that this is used in a couple of places. It's used in the problem report that we just viewed. It's also used in a couple of other parts, meaning it has these items as parent parts. Of course, I can double click on one of those and end up viewing the part form for that item. So we see that one of the parents for that controller assembly was, in fact, this P50 control assembly. So capabilities to do impact analysis and those types of things are possible from the where used view. But what Aras does is provides an additional view that we call the impact matrix that gives you an easier way to do an impact analysis. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let me go ahead and run an action here. What I'm doing is I'm on the part itself. I'm going to run an action to add this item to a change. When I do that, I am presented with a dialog that allows me to choose which type of change I want to add this part to. Now, Aras provides a number of different templates, the different methodologies and different forms and different workflows are available right out of the box to allow different styles or different methodologies or different forms and workflows depending on how you run your business. So this shows all of the out of the box or standard change items. Certainly you can add to this list, you can replace things, you can filter the list down to only those that are necessary for your company. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and use the Express ECO item type. And I can also either choose to create a new item or I can add to an existing item. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. So remember, we are adding the controller assembly now to an Express ECO. I'll hit OK. And a new ECO will be created. And we'll be able to fill out the information about the ECO. In this case, we want to create an ECO to resolve the over temp fault. And the reason is that faults were being seen in the... Okay, so we have now created an ECO. As soon as I go ahead and save this new ECO, a tracking number is going to be assigned. So we should see in just a second here that a tracking number has been created. So this is ECO 1085. This ECO is in a status of new, and we can go ahead and look at the life cycle for this for the ECO to see what new really means. In this case, we see the entire life cycle. New is at the beginning of the workflow, and then we have options to go to in planning, plan review, in work, in review or released, or in fact we can go back and cancel the ECO if necessary. So these are all the states that are available for an ECO. This ECO will also, of course, go through a life cycle. So if I go to the workflow. So if I go to the workflow view, I can see all the activities that would be required to release this ECO. And in fact, I see that there is currently an active activity. This activity is to submit the ECO, and it is in fact assigned to Robin Wakefield, the user that I am logged in as right now. So this is a direct assignment. If we look at some of the other activities here, we can see that the planning activity is assigned to Kathy Rand. This is accomplished through, in this case, the team assignments, which I'll get to in just a second. So it's just another way of assigning activities. You can do it by role, you can do it by group, you can do it by to individuals, or you can assign to teams and team members. Okay, so this is the ECO, or the ECO workflow. If I go ahead and let me go ahead and open this up a little bigger so we can see the impact matrix and go through that. Okay, so I started this ECO by adding the controller assembly as an affected item. So we see here that the controller assembly, in fact, appears twice in the impact matrix, one here and one here. The reason for that is that it has two parent assemblies. So we saw the T50 or P50 control assembly as one of the parents. The other parent or parent assembly was the P62 controller assembly. The system, through this impact matrix user interface, is automatically looking at the both up the tree, the bill of materials structure tree, and down the bill of materials structure tree to allow the user to immediately assess the impact on individual items. So we see here that the item action on the controller assembly is to review. I can then right-click on that and be able to set the action to something else. For instance, if I wanted to create a new revision of the controller assembly, I'd be able to just choose revise. Some of the other options are to roll the part number to renumber the item if it's non-interchangeable, or to supersede the item, or to obsolete it, or to say that there is in fact no action necessary on this item. I'll go ahead and choose to revise this one, and I will go ahead with P62, and I'll say that I want to revise that one as well. Now, when I mark P62 as affected, meaning I'm going to revise it here, the system is automatically going to go out and look for parent assemblies for the P62 controller assembly and tell me whether or not there are any, so that I can therefore decide whether or not those parent assemblies are impacted. So let me go ahead and hit revise here. And when I do that, I see the P62 top assembly has appeared as in my impact matrix to allow me to climb up that tree a little bit more. So the impact matrix is a very interactive user interface. It's custom built to be able to quickly and easily find all the impacts that a change might have. So go ahead and expand out the controller assembly, and we can mark a couple of other items here as affected. So maybe I want to revise the lower housing, and maybe I want to revise the PCB, and maybe also the firmware. So now here I have very quickly and easily I've defined a few different items here as affected by the change. I'll go ahead and save that. And now I also have a tab here that's going to allow me to look at the sign-offs for the CCO. So here we can see in the workflow that we are still at the submit ECO activity. I can vote directly from here, but in this case, what I'm going to do is go to show the in basket. So here is the in basket. These are all the activities that have been assigned to me. I can go ahead and sort by start date, and that should show me the submit ECO that is most recent. Now, the in basket is your current list of all PLM activities that have been assigned to you. You certainly also can receive other types of notifications like emails or instant messages that would notify you that you have an item in your in basket that requires some action. But in this case, we're going to go to the in basket. We're going to double click on the submit ECO activity, and we're going to see what the required tasks are in order to submit the ECO. So my tasks are that I must identify all affected parts and specify change actions. I've completed that. And then the next step is to submit the ECO to implementation planning. So I'll go ahead and say I've completed that. And then I can choose to vote here. I can vote to submit this item to planning. I can vote to cancel the change, or I can delegate it to another user. In this case, I'll just go ahead and submit this item to planning. And I will say that all affected items All affected items have been identified. The ECO is going to move along in its workflow. And we'll go ahead and look at that. It is now, the ECO is now in planning state. So we can see that the status here is updated from new to in planning. If we go ahead and look at the workflow, we can see that the workflow has moved on to the planning step, and that is to be completed by Kathy Rand in this case. And so there is now an activity in Kathy Rand's in basket to go ahead and complete that task. If I view sign-offs here, I should see that the submit ECO activity was closed by Robin Wakefield. The vote was to submit to planning, and the comments have been recorded. So again, what we've done here is we've issued an ECO. We've got it started along the process. We don't have time in this forum to finish out the complete ECO. But the important things to note are that we have created an ECO. We have done impact analysis using the impact matrix, which interactively, whenever you mark an item as affected, it goes and does a where used and helps you to do the impact analysis quickly and easily. We have also followed, in this case, the default or standard workflows that are provided with Aras Innovator. But it should be it's important to note that the change management within Aras Innovator allows for not only configuration and customization of different types of changes. So we saw a problem report, we saw an ECO. There are other types of ECOs, or ECNs, or ECRs. All these things are possible within Aras Innovator. And it's also possible to have mixed modes. So if you have one division of your company that's using a certain methodology for change management, they can go ahead and do that, and another division can use a different methodology. That's all supported within the Aras Innovator application. The other thing that's really important to walk away with is that everything you've seen is completely configurable and customizable. We can add fields to forms. We can add or change steps to the workflows and the life cycles. We can require additional authentication. We can do all sorts of things very quickly and easily using the Aras Innovator framework. So that should wrap it up for today.